Is India witnessing another defining youth movement? Thousands of students had taken to the streets, the protest sites were expanded across different cities. Allegations of excess police actions have reached the Supreme Court. Questions are now being asked not only about the protest itself, but also the constitutional limits of the state power. But the main question is what exactly is happening? Is this merely another political protest, or is it becoming one of the most significant constitutional debates on the right to protest in the recent time? Welcome to Genesis Academy. I am Garima, and in today's video, we'll analyze the CJP protest from a legal, constitutional, and a public policy perspective. The movement initially gained momentum around concerns regarding examination irregularities and the student grievances. Over time, however, it evolved into a broader movement demanding transparency, accountability, and, of course, institutional reform. Now, today, the debate extends far beyond students. It raises certain important constitutional questions like how far can citizens exercise their right to protest? What powers does the state possess in order to regulate these public demonstrations? When does police actions become excessive? And finally, where does the constitutional draw the balance? The biggest development is that the issue has now entered into the courtrooms. Several petitions have reached the constitutional courts, raising concerns about political action, detention of protesters, and alleged violations of the fundamental rights. The Supreme Court has reportedly directed that no unnecessary coercive action should be taken against peaceful protesters while the matter remains under consideration. It has also emphasized adherence to legal safeguards, particularly when minors are concerned. At the same time, the court has sought responses from the concerned authorities and has not delivered a final verdict on the merits of all allegations. Now, recent reporting also notes ongoing litigation over police conduct and the handling of the demonstrations. This demonstrates an important constitutional principle which says that courts do not decide the public opinion, they merely examine the legality. On the other hand, when we talk about the constitutional framework, every protest in India is ultimately governed by the constitution. And we all know that. Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A guarantees the right to freedom of speech and expression. Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause B guarantees the right to assemble peacefully. Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause C, it protects the freedom to form association. However, we all know that these rights are not absolute. Articles 19, Clause 2 and Article 19, Clause 3, it permits reasonable restriction in the interest of public order, sovereignty and integrity of India, security of the state, that is India itself, and public safety. This means that both the sides have constitutional obligations. Citizens have the right to protest peacefully. The state has the responsibility to maintain law and order, but neither power is unlimited. There are a few Supreme Court judgments that are important and have laid down about all these issues. Number one, we can talk about Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan versus Union of India that was decided in 2018, where the court recognized that peaceful protest is an essential feature of any democracy. However, public inconvenience and competing rights must also be balanced. Second, we talk about the judgment that is Amit Sahani versus Commissioner of Police, which is also known as the famous Shaheen Bagh case of 2020. The court held that public roads cannot remain occupied, let's say, indefinitely. The right to protest cannot completely override the rights of the commuters and the general public. And lastly, we have a landmark judgment of Kameshwar Prasad versus State of Bihar, decided in the year 1962, where the Supreme Court observed that peaceful demonstrations from part of the constitutional guarantee under Article 19, however, of course, subject to reasonable restrictions which are imposed by the law. Now, when I talk about this protest, or this protest is no longer just about one organization or one incident. It has become a constitutional discussion on the fundamental rights, the police accountability, the due process, the democratic dissent, as well as the judicial oversight. Now, whenever or whatever the final judicial outcome may be, this case is likely to become an important reference for future debates on what exactly civil liberties and public order is. For every law student, judiciary aspirant, UPSC candidate, and anyone interested in the constitutional law, this is a development which is worth following closely. The real question is not whether one supports or opposes a particular protest. The real question is, can India protect both public order and the democratic dissent at the same time? The balance that lies at the heart of our constitutional democracy needs to be found out. And it is precisely this balance, I think, that the courts are now examining. What are your views on this? Should the law provide greater protection to peaceful protests, or public order receive greater priority? Let us know your views in the comment section below. And if you enjoy watching these videos of legal and constitutional analysis, do not forget to subscribe to Genesis Academy, like this video, and share it with your fellow law students and even civil service aspirants. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.